This is a demonstration of the credit card capabilities inside Emporio and managing the Spire records. The way that it's being stored, it's over in Spire in a user-defined function, which is in fact attached to the billing address. And in Emporio, I'm not going to store the credit card at all because it's already over in Spire. It's available there. We can edit it through Emporio, but it's not going to be stored in Emporio at all, except for that little amount of time that you're doing the editing on it. So on this order, I've got a customer who has a credit card on file, and you'll see this CC available with the eyeball icon. And all that means is it hasn't been put on the screen. It isn't in the back, the code of the screen at all. It's still sitting over in Spire, hasn't been pulled. So if I hit the eyeball, it's going to open it up and grab it from Spire, put it on the screen, and then when you close this, it's gone. Okay, but this is not editable. This is just a viewing spot. I wanted to keep the editing in the editing pencil, so under customer details, it would allow you to add a credit card for someone that doesn't have one, and of course edit one that exists already. So I've loaded up the screen, but at this point I still haven't pulled the credit card information over, because the credit card information is unless I'm going to edit it, I'm not going to touch that part of the data. But in this case, I'm going to actually do some editing. So I'm going to hit the eyeball, and it opens up the editor and goes over to Spire to fetch it and put it on the screen. The formatting of the credit card will be in groups of 4 with spaces, but it really is only storing the numbers. So you can put spaces in while you're keying it in, or you can leave them out. You use dashes, whatever you want to use, but it'll take them out and replace it. So if I put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and click outside or tab or whatever, you'll see that I get an invalid and a red error at the bottom. And that's because there is a mathematical formula on credit cards that we can use to determine whether it is an allowed credit card number. It doesn't mean, if I manage to get this to be valid, it doesn't mean that it is a valid, it means that it's mathematically valid, but it doesn't mean that it actually exists as somebody's credit card. And the one that I found is that if I change it to a 1, 2, 3, 8 at the end, it will be valid. Gets rid of the valid, and there's no error on it. Now, Emporio will allow you to save this, like this 1, 2, 3, 6, which is an invalid credit card. It will allow you to save it into Spire. I didn't want to necessarily have an occasion where a customer gave you the number. It got written down on a piece of paper, you key it in, it's invalid, it doesn't save, and you lose the whole thing. I think in this case you'd probably want to contact the person and say, hey, I've got this number, but it's not quite right, and then review it on the screen. So it does allow you to save it. Okay, I'm going to put it back to a valid number. Now the expiry, if you put in 2/22, it's going to realize that you really meant 02/22. If I put in 15/23, it's going to say, no, that's not going to work, and it puts it back to the previous value. And the CCV number is going to be, we expect it to be 3 digits. Now, if I close this, it's still going to keep my fresh values. Okay. If I reload, it's going to wipe out those values and go back to what was in Spire, or blank if there was none. And if I apply changes, it's going to apply them over in Spire. So now I can look at the Spire window for that customer, and we'll take a look at where it's being stored. It's on the billing address, and it's under the user defined, and there's my values that I just put in. Okay, and that's pretty much all there is to it on the credit cards for Emporio. Thanks.